I fired a patient today. A microaggression is a very subtle form of passive aggressiveness, of anger. It's evidence of a lack of emotional intelligence, cultural intelligence, respect, dignity, all kinds of things like safety, security within a therapeutic relationship. And I don't think people think a lot about the provider's experience in a clinical relationship. And it's because we're very patient-centered, and I understand being patient-centered, it's a double-edged sword. For one, you validate people on a deep level, and people feel seen and heard in ways that they never have, which can be deeply confronting, deeply, freeing in a lot of ways. Like it's a dual state. It's not this single experience, right? There's a polarity to it. There's a good and a bad. So you're having this experience internally, and you're not able to articulate what's going on. So let me put some context. So I've been in the middle of literal hell, changing my EHR after 15 years in EHR as an electronic health record. It's pretty much, for a healthcare provider or a hospital system, it's like the heart of your business. So I'm changing the heart of my business because I went from a physical practice to a virtual one, and I'm decentralizing really my life, not just my business. But anyway, I am a very steady person. I'm a very predictable person. I'm that way with myself because it helps my nervous system and helps me cope from my complex trauma. So I've healed a lot from complex trauma. And also, on the other side, I've gained a lot of wisdom and have a lot of strength in my own communication and my power in speaking on emotional matters. So I get on the call with the patient. We're having really severe challenges with internet in St. Lucia right now. It's like a countrywide issue. I go to different parts and different areas, and what may work really well one day doesn't work well the next day. So, there's also that. But that's not really the problem of a patient. So I couldn't do Zoom because the bandwidth was not very good. And so I called this patient. And understand, in my practice, I over-document everything. So patients get a thorough, every appointment is thoroughly charted, and they are given a post-visit summary after every single appointment. And it's a way to not only keep them accountable, but also keep the process organized and the steps. And so it's easily auditable what I'm doing versus what the patient is doing. And so, because I'm giving clear instructions, right? This is not feelings. This is step 1, drink X amount of water. Step 2, X amount of protein. Step 3, these are very practical steps. And then everything is also tracked with health data, both in an app as well as in labs. So I have a lot of accountabilities for myself, and I also have a lot of accountabilities for the patient. I have admittedly, and I've said this to every patient lately, been very focused on trying to get the schedule and automation system completely set up to make it easier for the patients. Like, it will be, once it's done, it's going to be so easy. Patients will be able to book themselves, keep themselves accountable, flowing, fill out forms really easy, upload documents really easy, just a much more efficient way of doing business. So it's a sacrifice. So where normally I get back with a patient with 24, 48 hours, I'm at like a week, 2 weeks, time frame. of being able to process these files, while I'm also simultaneously moving my medical records off of my EHR to another server and changing completely how I process health information so that the patients are able to have it in a very clean, organized Google Doc that they can, again, take anywhere with them all over the world. So that has all of their healthcare information on it, that's completely secured, etc. So, I know if I get this done, it will free up my time, and then I can focus on one of my loves. Business is a love, but one of my loves, which is patient care, right? And so I'm so grateful for the patients right now that are really patient, understanding as I transition. These are not big things. These are not small things, excuse me. These are very big things. And it's in preparation of building my school and in preparation, of this global launch that I'm, a year out from. So there's so much more going on in the background. And so I jump on this call with all of that, and the patient doesn't understand where they are. They're telling me that the cost of their supplements is getting high. I understand. I also am very precise when it comes to supplementation. And if you've been a patient of mine for any period of time, you know that I change supplements every single month. And so you're always on different protocols because I'm always manipulating your biochemistry. And if you follow what I'm doing, number one, it's very difficult to follow because it's complicated. But if you just follow the directions that I give you in your post-visit summary, you'll be fine, right? But there's always this desire to put us on the same intellectual level. And what I mean by that is, I've spent my entire life focused in one concentrated area, where many people spend their life focus a little bit over here, focus a little bit over there, focus a little bit over there. So they may be like the jack of all trades, right? But mastery of nothing. People have called me a master at what I do. I'm very humble to my gifts because I know that they're God-given. And so I just want to preface that by saying, however, I can also acknowledge that I have developed a certain level of mastery and understanding and deep level of intimacy with healing, and the relationship that I serve with patients in their healing process is incredibly unique, multidimensional, and dynamic. And this is why I want to teach the work that I do, because there's so many variables of balance. So even while everything is like hitting the fan in my business, I always have a pulse on my patients, right? And again, those that hang in there with me, right? It's worth it, right? But with any transformation and any new growth, I always know that there's some people that are just not going to travel with me to this next level, and this particular patient isn't. Today, I'm a proud Black woman. To even articulate that, excuse me, my throat is dry. For me to be able to even articulate that has taken a significant amount of work within myself, within my mental state, emotional state, and has required an enormous amount of healing from deep transgenerational trauma. So to be able to overcome erasure and be able to powerfully stand for my ancestors of African ancestry is a very beautiful experience. And I'm grateful for that simultaneously, because I too personally benefit from this relationship. So I say that to say that I give a lot of grace in healing, because I know we're radioactive when we're healing. I know we say things, do things, react in certain ways that are not only unbecoming, but are not really our true state, simply because we're acting out of pain, right? And I get that. However, I'm not a human body shield. So just because a person is in pain doesn't give them merit to sling insults and then pretend like they didn't say anything. So to be called aggressive as a Black woman is a racial slur at this point. And the reason being is because that terminology has been used, has been weaponized actually, against Black women who use their voice and have power, right? So I'm not afraid of humans, right? I have deep-seated fears like we all do as human beings, but they're really more so fears internal towards myself, right? To fear a human being outside of myself would negate the fact that I have a deep faith in a being, entity, whatever you want to call it, outside of ourselves, all of us, that we are all a part of, known as this collective God consciousness, if you will. So, with all of that being said, I recognize the humanity in this person, while also recognizing the illness in this person, while also recognizing my boundaries today and my unwillingness to accept less than what I deserve in a therapeutic relationship, even as a doctor. As a doctor, I'm not a martyr. I don't have to take anything. And just because a person pays me doesn't mean they own me. I can't tell you how many times people weaponize money in conversation towards me, as if I'm not already discounting my rates by 70%. I charge $325 per 30-minute appointment. Okay? That is my full price rate. $750, right? I've done $325 an hour as well for my consulting fees. That would be considered a discount, right? A 50% discount on my time. And that figure has come after 6 degrees, almost 7. This is my last semester of my MBA in global business. 20 years of experience in business. I started my first business at 17 years old. I'm 39 now. I also started in natural health care at 16 years old when I went to school, graduated, and became the youngest massage therapist in my class at a Corinthian college. So, I get it, right? However, at this level, I'm no longer willing. Just not willing. If you can't come to me with complete respect and honor as I do you, it will not work. Calling a Black woman aggressive in 2024 is crazy. Then this patient tokenizes their family saying they have Black friends, they have Black family, right? Then they tell me they can't believe I'm using the quote-unquote race card. As if I have a card, as if I'm like a magician, a circus act, or some sort of, Las Vegas gambler. No, ma'am, I have no cards. I simply have Black skin that I cannot escape. And for some reason, my Black skin completely anesthetizes your executive functioning to the point that you totally forget that you're talking to an extremely seasoned professional who's also helped you with various different components of your health that in this moment, because your emotional drama, you're unwilling to acknowledge and instead choose erasure and choose to try to minimize me, to which I cut you off and don't allow you to do that because it's abusive and harmful. And then when I try to retreat in the conversation, you continue on more and more and more, so much to the point that I have to hang up on you. Like, I am no longer willing to tolerate this type of insanity. Like, put some respect on my name. I get it. I'm super laid back. I like being laid back. I don't like to be a stick in the mud. Sometimes I have to be a stick in the mud. Why? Because of situations like this. People be trying me all the time. And I get it. Like, you have to test your boundaries. It's like little kids, right? Like, we all want to go there. But when you hit the intersection of fuck around and find out, don't cry that you've hit that intersection, because guaranteed you were told 1,000 times there were a million street signs on the way to this intersection. So don't be obtuse, right? I don't have to take abuse. Just because you give me money doesn't mean I take abuse. Like, what in the world? Like, giving me money is some sort of like you're helping me out. No, I'm giving you thousands of dollars worth of healthcare advice for pennies on the dollar, because I had a vision early on for people to have affordable holistic healthcare. And if that meant that I needed to build a system, a healthcare system that was strong enough to support that, that could actually execute that where it didn't kill me in the process, you know, I'm going to hang around for that. And that's what I'm doing, right? In order to discount my rates to this ridiculous amount, you have to have a strong business model. I've been working on this business model for 20 years. So pardon me if I need a little bit of time so I can focus on this, not, you know, this culmination of years and years of work coming to fruition finally, coming into alignment with myself, coming into alignment with all of me, not just Dr. Steele, but also Erica. See, you're getting both sides of me. And we'll talk about this in another confessions, because this is like a whole another can of worms. But I have two very distinct sides of me. I have the no nonsense, no bullshit, kick-ass Dr. Steele, who I fucking love, who that woman is literally like a superhero, right? And I also have Erica, who is this super laid-back, chill, mellow, to the earth, grounded, soulful, spiritual human who's very sensitive and also needs water. You know, so the deal is that me as an integrated human being, no longer hiding any parts of myself, I get to bring my whole self to the party. I get to bring my blackness to the party, my womanness to the party, my youthfulness to the party, my experiences to the party, my voice to the party. You don't just get to come and take my gifts and leave the rest of me. Like, that's misappropriation and that's colonization. And I'm tired of this colonized mindset in healthcare. It's very transactional. The patients that have been with me for years, I really think they get the most benefit. And here's why. Because we build such a strong relationship, right? They know they can depend on me. They know that they can call me. They know I'm going to come through with them when it matters the most, right? Do they give me grace when this doesn't come out right or that doesn't come out right? You bet you. Do I give them grace? You bet you. Because it's a mutual relationship. Because we're both humans coming to this very imperfect party, right? And there's an acceptance of both people. There's an acceptance of both humanities. I can't be expected to be open, humble, empathetic, and you to be cold and callous and shrewd. How is that an equitable relationship? It's not. And as I close out my MBA in global business, looking at equitability in business, like how can we, make businesses sustainable while also profitable? How can we do good by humans and also turn a profit? Like, that is my that deep ethical respect for humans on a very high level. So much to the point that it is so much better for me to hang up on that patient than to let her, yell at me and get all of her aggressions out and I be the whipping boy, or even just harmful for her in terms of her not sitting with her own emotions and allowing her to project all of that unprocessed fear onto me. Either way, that's not a good scenario. So hanging up was a revolutionary act for me because I have a huge heart, so much to the point that I would put my life on the line for another human being. And those lessons are deep, and I can go through stories. That's probably like a 10-part confessions, honestly. That story is a very deep one that I came to those realizations. But stories that I will share nonetheless. So I just felt like it was important before I delve into this homework that I have to do to stop and reflect on this day, because this was very important for me. It was very important for the patient, even though she's not going to understand it probably years from now. And I'm used to that. I'm used to, my mother would always say the truth will first piss you off and then it will set you free. And sometimes you can be a caged bird for many, many years before you're set free. And so I've had the birds come back to me and express deep gratitude as they have been able to eventually find themselves free, even after I've had to let them go. Because I am wise enough and humble enough to know when my presence is not only no longer needed, but it's harmful to the therapeutic relationship. And I think more providers need to understand their place. I think more patients need to understand the humanity in their providers. And I think if we can begin to do that, I think we can have at least equitable dialogue, right? And I think equitable dialogue would be a start. Me being able to say, as a Black woman professional, I'm tired of being told that I'm aggressive. I'm tired of being told that I have an attitude. I'm tired of being told that I'm angry when I'm as calm as I am right now. I'm tired of being projected on, spit on, kicked on, told who I am instead of actually seen. It's wild. It's like this perceived expectation of perfection, because we are held to an impossible standard, right? And when we even get close, because you can never get to it, even when you get close, you're still not seen, so you're invisible, right? So there you go. There's the dichotomy. You have, on one side, you have had to adapt and be the best because that's what's been expected in order to just survive, right? So you have this crazy acceleration of optimal functioning in humanity on multiple spheres, which is incredibly intimidating. And so, again, the impact of white supremacy and erasure is, even though I've made you this powerful because of my shenanigans, I don't want to acknowledge your power because of it. And instead, I want to continue to erase you and continue to, make sure that you feel less than because I feel less than. And what I have to say about that is, no one can make you feel anything. I didn't feel less than. In fact, I arrived. When I hung up that phone, I felt good. I felt powerful. Because for me, that was saying no. That was saying absolutely no. I will not be treated that way. And if that's a problem, if you can't control your communication, if you can't recognize that I'm a sensitive human being who has a heart, I'm sorry. Because if you can't see the trajectory of my career and what I've done, and you can't see, even in my invoicing, that I don't have a heart, right? I don't know what to tell you, except this. We can only meet people as deep as we're willing to meet ourselves. And I have no problem acknowledging my shortcomings, my flaws, where I can improve upon. And more than likely, before you even say anything, I already know and I already have a plan in place. But unfortunately, these things are not instant. Building a global healthcare infrastructure is not instant. And it has a lot of hiccups, no matter how much carefully planning you do. Because I have planned this execution to death. If everyone knew the stages involved, like how many intricate pieces and steps in order to make sure that the entire infrastructure doesn't collapse, Anyway, it's going to give me heartburn. So I'm going to jump off, but thank you for listening to my words. And it's definitely jam-packed, I know, and I'll probably listen to it even myself to unpack more. But I just simply want everyone to know that you're safe, you're loved, and you're cared for. And until I have another confession, I will speak to you soon.